Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic: does life actually get better? How do you come back / get better from being lonely and extremely depressed? How do you create meaningful relationships when you are so screwed up? You can't live a meaningful life in a day, but you can have a slightly better day at a time. Strive towards having a better day first. Start with one conversation, one relationship at a time. And give yourself time to grow and get results. Consistent effort is what it takes to be better. Was gonna come here to say take things one day at a time. The uncertainty of what to do even 1 week from now can stress you out and make you anxious. Everything one by one. One day, one step. But you have to take that step no matter what. Keep going. It gets easier. You have to do it every day, that's the hard part. But it does get easier. I'm late, so this will probably get buried. In 2008 I lost my job. All I could get right away was McDonald's, so I took it, but it wasn't enough to pay all my bills. My car was repossessed, I got kicked out of my apartment, and I found out my girlfriend was cheating on me, all within the space of a month or so. It was the lowest period of my life. I struggled with depression, considered suicide, it just wasn't a good time. I was homeless, but I had good friends who gave me a place to stay, so I was never actually on the streets. It took a while, but today I have a good job. I apprenticed in the tool and die trade and I make good money for a guy who barely graduated high school and never went to college. I'm married, and my home life is stable. It's not perfect, life never is, but I'm far better than I was. I hope everyone in this thread who is struggling is able to find a way to better days as well. Obligatory edit: wow, this blew up. By far my most upvoted comment, as well as gold and silver. I'm glad so many people found this inspiring. Keep on going. You are not getting buried. Whoosh, that took a dark turn. Go to therapy / counseling. The other suggestions are great, but I don't think these people understand what it's like to go through depression. You don't merely snap out of it by doing the things they suggested. Find a good therapist, and if you cannot afford one, look for support groups of others who are also experiencing depression and talk about your struggles with them. Mental health counseling, along with the things the others have mentioned, will go a long way. I feel like it only works for some people, unfortunately, which absolutely sucks. I've gone to therapy / counseling / you name it consistently for 4 years. I've talked to a bunch of different people. I feel like I'm so messed up and there is no way of ever fixing this / coming back to the extremely happy and social person I once was. I really do appreciate your comment though. Your suggestions would be great for someone with just depression, but I just have way too many problems. Therapy is only as successful as your relationship with your therapist. Try another therapist. They are as different as any other people, and when you find one who you click with, you can absolutely move mountains. Mountains of hurt, mountains of depression, mountains of anxiety, and mountains of hopelessness. Keep looking. What you want is possible. There is no way of ever fixing this / coming back to the extremely happy and social person I once was. What I learned in therapy is that I will probably never go back to the happy, open-hearted, and super bend over backwards kind person I was, and that's okay. There are different types of happiness, so whatever you found joy in before, is dead. For me it was connection, helping other people. I was very empathetic, to a fault, which kinda lost meaning in my depression, but you will find other things, and another purpose. Wish you well. I don't know if life gets better or you get better. I've struggled with depression for most of my life. The thing is that my mental toils grow stronger with every other struggle I have to deal with. Summers used to make me extremely happy. Well, content is maybe a better word, because I could only be focused on work and making money. College was horrible because it took almost 6 years, and the only thing I envisioned my diploma to be was a giant question mark instead of a marker of success. I was tired, angry and overwhelmed for those 6 years. I thought about killing myself a couple times because of all the strain. But I thought that if I killed myself, I wouldn't have known if I'd have finished school. But school was so difficult to complete. Your whole life you hear that a degree brings happiness and success. It doesn't, but school is done with. Do I have a career to show for it? A nice new car and a house? No. I have debt, but at the same time I'm carefree. So to answer your question, depression might not go away, but you will mature and things will get easier. but it's never truly gone. I shit you not, this was me. I hated life, and recently I realized I have a career that I'm proud of and I feel like I am doing something with my life. I am close to finishing school and I am finally seeing the good in life. Unfortunately it came at the cost of my best friend. I was so depressed and lonely that it was all I focused on, and he had to cut ties with me because I was just too sad. I have changed my outlook on life and I am starting to see the good in life again. However, I hope that one day I can finally get my friendship back. If not, that is life. People come and go, but you just have to focus on yourself. This is the thing I'm most afraid of. I'm afraid my flatmate, who's one of my best friends, will have to cut ties with me, because she sees me day and night and I'm recently way too sad and struggling a lot with depression. It's actually one of the reasons why I decided to go to therapy. Anyway, I'm really glad that you're feeling better and I'm sure you'll get that friendship back if you two really cares about each other. Focus on your mental health. Think of yourself like a car. A car needs oil, gas, brake fluid, transmission fluid, coolant, good tires, etc. Your body needs 26 vitamins and minerals to 100% of your daily value, ample protein and essential fatty acids plus fiber. It needs daily exercise to rebuild and maintain itself. It needs to be in a good environment to keep in condition. Can a car drive when all its fluids are half level? Yes, but it will struggle, overheat, break down faster, etc. Likewise, you can survive with half of your needs, but you will struggle and break down faster than you should. Once you satisfy the basics, then you can focus harder on improving your financial and social situations. There's a reason people usually don't befriend bums on the corner. It's because they tend to weight us down with their problems. I have problems too. I can't take on the problems of a stranger. People won't want to befriend/date you if you can't manage your problems. It starts with yourself first. Self-talk, CBT, diet/nutrition/exercise/health. Health before wealth, all forms of wealth. I call this the whirlwind approach. You start with what's closest to you and move outwards. In this case, you start with what's in you. You are nothing but a collection of nutrition, protein, fat, minerals and vitamins bind you together. Exercise builds you and keeps you glued together. Your thoughts control everything you do and your version of reality, CBT, your self-talk is everything. Medication can be useful. I consider it as a badge or crutch. These are good things. They help you heal. Some people need more than a badge or a crutch. Medication will not cure you, but it can help you. You need to take action. Whether you think you can, or you think you can't, you're right, in 95% of cases. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. Ice-T. Cock and ball torture. Everything in life is temporary. Good times, bad times. All temporary. But if you were happy, you would never think to yourself, wow, this happiness is gonna last forever and will never change. When depressed, we have a tendency to think nothing will ever change. But this is the source of the depression. You need to abandon the narratives you've created for yourself. You aren't some weirdo who is screwed up. Most people in your situation would likely become depressed. Hence why it's endemic and suicide is the biggest killer of young men. You are just a normal person. You're not the problem. It's our sick, shitty world. You're just reacting appropriately to it. It will changed for me when I started to view my depression and anxiety as non-narratively. They weren't a sign of weakness or failure. It was an underlying functional problem with my biology and thinking. It wasn't anything to be ashamed about. Indeed, it's not an emotion-inducing event. Depression, like all disease, is morally neutral. Risk factors of depression aren't things like bad personality or boring or dumb. Risk factors for depression are things like lack of physical activity, poor diet, genetics. None are statements about you as a person. It took years, but slowly I changed how I thought. I did some great cognitive behavioral therapy. I started to become aware of the thoughts that went through my head, and aware of how those thoughts would trigger negative emotion. By simply observing and discarding those thoughts, I can stop tormenting myself. The biggest thing you can do is be kind to yourself. Give yourself a break. You're going through a really tough time. My rule when self-talking is never say anything to myself I wouldn't say to a friend. I am a friend to myself. I take care of myself. I don't tell myself I'm pathetic for this or that anymore. Another thing I really remember my therapist saying: act, don't feel. If you wait until you feel like going out to a coffee shop, you will never go. The act of going is what will make you feel better. Lack of activity is strongly linked to depression. It's why anxiety often leads to depression. Your brain wants to act, but you are too afraid. So you do nothing. And that act of thinking about doing something and then not doing it sends bad signals. Humans want to be free and have agency. It's a long road, but you need to learn to love yourself. You're worth it. We all are. We're not weak because of this shit. And one day this rough patch in life will become your armor. Every time life gets rough, I remind myself it's a cakewalk compared to the shit I've been through. Literally nothing can hurt me anymore, really.